You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in the palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me.
What is going on? This is the 24 Unstoppable Camaraderie fundraiser, and it's for a very good cause. It's for an excellent cause. And I just want to thank the man, the myth, the legend, Tim Sohn, for inviting me here and actually having the opportunity to bring this content to you, to share a story or two, and allow people to understand what it is we're doing today. Well, what is it, Russ? Tim says, let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. The reality is that there are over 40 people committing suicide every single day. I think the number is almost up to 50. And the reality is a lot of that is as a direct result of PTSD, not getting the mental health support, and mostly and primarily it's veterans. And veterans are exiting the military at approximately 270,000 veterans a year are exiting the military. And that's a number that is staggering. And when you don't have the resources, you don't have the opportunities, and you don't have a roadmap to go where you need to go, sometimes the only opportunity you feel you have is to check out. And we're here to help more people stop this process, stop this this thing that is going on around in the world. And we want to have you help us join the crowd and the crew to get some funding in place where we can actually support you. So it is really important for you to do this. Thank you, Tim. I love you, brother. And I just really want to make sure that we have an opportunity to help some people here in the world today. Now, I'm monitoring this on LinkedIn because LinkedIn started the live stream I was on yesterday, and then it failed. It fell short. And so I'm rebroadcasting that tomorrow at 10:10 on Sunday, just to remind everybody that this is a 24-hour session, and it's going to end today at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that doesn't necessarily mean you can't continue to donate for the cause, because we can donate. And I just want to make sure that we have an opportunity. So on the donation piece, you can go to tinyurl.com/hope4vets. And if you're listening to this and you're not watching it, you can go to tinyurl.com/hope4vets. And I just want to emphasize the impact every single dollar makes, because you know what? We have an opportunity to change. So we want to make sure that you have everything in place that you could do to donate to this tiny URL. And we got somebody in the house. I'm going to bring on one of the workhorses, one of the major influences in some of the support that goes on behind this. This is an incredible crew of all of the live streamers, all of the people supporting Greg, the founder, and I got some more information I'll be sharing, but I just wanted to get the excitement going and make sure that you have an opportunity. So I want to bring on Dorothyann O'Dell. And Dorothy, love what you're doing. I love your energy, and I love the support that you're going. How are you feeling? How are you doing? And are you holding up okay?
I am tired, my friend. So if I stumble on my words, I promise you I'm not drunk. I just can't have a thought in my head that I can put coherent sentences together. And the funny thing is, I was up 24 hours before the 24 hours. So I've had 3 hours sleep today.
Yeah. Well, running on empty is something that we've all had to do at some
Yes.
point in our lives, and it's not a habit we want to continue to make.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that the people here that are listening to this now or in the future have an opportunity to truly understand what is taking place. So Dorothy, maybe you can kind of give us a backdrop on how this evolved and how this took place, because it's important for people to understand.
Absolutely. And first of all, I want to thank you so much, Russ. This is the first time I've actually officially met Russ person here. And so I just acknowledge you and thank you so much for your effort and your time this last week and getting yesterday and today started. So I appreciate you, friend. You're now my
Thank
friend.
you.
So
Received. We're always connected now.
that's right. We're family. So the way this started was I do have a show Monday nights called Unstoppable Overcomers, and I had Mr. Bicknell on my show back January 31st of this year. And those of you who have not met Greg yet, you know Greg's energy is like through the roof. You swear he drinks Red Bull, and he doesn't. Like this guy is just lit and he's on fire, right? And his one passion is to help veterans because, excuse me, he was in the Air Force for 29 years. He served, and Greg had a brain surgery that did not go well. So he, when that happened, he was having suicidal ideations. He kept it to himself. His family didn't even know what was going on. And, several attempts on his life, and he finally reached out to his officer and, tried to make an appointment or tried to talk to somebody about how he was feeling. And he was told to make an appointment. So here you are. You're told to suck it up for 29 years. You put your life on the line. You gave up time for your family. You put your ass on the line for your country. And you're told, make an appointment. So that was like, okay. And then again, if you know Greg, it's just like, that was like the icing on the explosive. Like you could have just peeled the pin and threw the bomb, because that's what it was, right? No pun intended with all of that. So he decided that he was going to, once he was medically discharged, because, the surgery didn't go well and he just needed to retire. So he was medically discharged, forced to retire. And he thought, okay, he once told me when I first talked to him, there's two things that veterans do when they come out. Either they get into coffee, or they start their own organization, or some kind of beer. So he's into coffee. So he started this coffee club, and which turned into helping everybody out there, every veteran out there. So Greg has a tendency to give everything away as long as it's helping somebody. And I love his heart. However, we need funds in order to do that. So after sharing his story on our show, it was just like, we really, Kimberly and I were like, okay, we need to do something here. So we kept on having more veterans on our show. I don't know. It was a God thing, because God just kept putting veterans on my show, our show. And so it was 9 months of being in the trenches with these guys. Kimberly flew down to Florida and spent 3 months with Greg in his organization and thought, okay, we need to put our money where our mouth is. And we became co-chairs of with Camaraderie Rescue Mission, sorry. And so here we are making a difference. And not only that, I've also belonged to other veteran organizations for the camaraderie and, just getting the word out there. And Angels 14 has a call Fridays at noon. And when I hear some of the veterans that are on there, or even active duty members, the people from that were in 9/11, some of those guys were actually, it still haunts them.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable what those men and women went through with 9/11.
Well, trauma is trauma, you know?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You know, and we have to acknowledge the fact that our life is getting more noisy, more hectic, and a lot of, just like the response Greg received when he was attempting to get some support. I had an uncle that attempted to get support and it didn't end the same way. And so I really want to acknowledge anyone that's struggling out there to call and get support. Suicide hotline, phone a friend, just tell somebody that you are needing assistance and you want to make sure that it's available to anyone that's out there. And that's what I see happening with your organization and what's Greg is doing. So
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for that. I also want to I want to make sure that you know, people know how to connect, because there's a couple of ways through you know, the organization that we can donate for this fundraiser. Maybe you could talk about that, Dorothy.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So this fundraiser, it all started when Tim and I connected, well, last year, I guess. And when
Guess who's in the room?
Tim is in the room. Yes, I see Tim.
Hello.
Tim wanted to, Tim is a leukemia survivor. And of course, cancer is in my family too. So, you know, cancer and veterans and emotional or mental health, you know, all wrapped into one. So anyways, Tim said, I want to be man of the year. And I said, perfect. And he said, okay, well, I need you on my team. I'm like, okay, great. And I came up with this crazy ass idea. Let's do a 24-hour fundraiser, live stream fundraiser. So Tim's like,
perfect. I think I was on that.
Yes, you were on that. So Tim said, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I said, let's do a virtual event. She said, let's do a 24-hour virtual event. I said, let's do it. I don't think she thought I was that crazy.
This is what happens to when two crazy people get together. Seriously. So that being said, I said to him, okay, so we did the cancer thing. And I'm like, well, let's do the veteran thing, because the numbers have gone up. It started at 22 a day. Now we're losing 44 a day. And we just heard the hour before that 132 people, that's civilians and military, die by suicide per day. So we knew that needed to stop. And
how many did you say?
132, if you include, Kimberly had said that on the last show. 132 was the stat for every, like, if you combine civilian and military and everybody. I know that's mind-boggling, right?
Yeah.
And so we need to make mental health part of an everyday thing, and not like break the stigma of having to keep quiet and suck it up. You know, this bull crap of just suck it up, buttercup, is like not a thing. Although I will have to say I have used that phrase before. So for anybody that I had said that to and I hurt you, I deeply apologize, because I mean, I'm human and I grew up where, you know, you did suck it up. You didn't, you know, anyways, we won't go there. So that's why we're here.
I think it's important though to acknowledge that, because there's a lot of people in my age group, let's just say, that's how we grew up. I mean, we were told to go outside and play until the streetlights come on.
Right.
And the reality is that we didn't have, you know, we were our own resources.
Yep.
And we have to figure it out on our own. So after getting so used to growing up, knowing how to figure it out and do it on our own, and not asking for help, or not practicing the support system, or not building a support system, or not building a community around us that we can actually talk and be vulnerable to, it really makes a difference in how we think about asking for help. And especially when we're doing something so vulnerable as mental health. And I think we have to acknowledge the fact that there's a lot of people out there that the last thing they want to do is ask for assistance.
Yep.
So, you know, regardless of how you were raised, whether it's, you know, because I was, you know, kind of a stoic, even though I do cry at Hallmark movies on occasion.
I love
I'm
it.
not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. But the reality is we have an opportunity to make a difference in somebody's life today. And if we make a difference in one person's life because of this broadcast, that makes a difference in my life. And if I can help more people, that's what it means. That's what make it matter. Let's just make it matter.
Absolutely.
So thank you everyone that's here and everyone that's going to be joining us on a regular basis, because we have to make a difference.
Absolutely.
Impact.
And we yeah, definitely impact. And we so appreciate you, Russ, being part of this, and all of the live streamers and all of the veterans and organizations and everyone who has just shown up and shared their stories during these almost 24 hours. We're nearing the final hours, and I can't believe it, Dorothy and Russ, but we're just so grateful for everyone who has put so much of their heart and time and talents into all of these hours.
Well, and I want to give you a prime example, Tim, for somebody that has held back and has become vulnerable, and that's you. You know, some of the things that you lived through and you have survived through and you've thrived through, you have actually opened up in the last couple of years and actually made a difference and made an impact on a lot of people. And so I want to acknowledge you and the efforts, and the reason that people show up is because of who you are and what you do and how you help. So I want to make sure that people acknowledge and recognize the value and benefit of knowing Tim and some of the things that go on in your life and some of the challenges you have to deal with. And we've talked about that offline. So I just want to make sure that you're lifted in light with the acknowledgement of effort and energy that you put into this.
Well, thank you, Russ. I really appreciate your words. They mean a lot to me. So thank you. And who's this man? Who's this man over
guy?
here? Who's this guy that just showed up on the screen?
You guys brought me in mid-chew. I didn't know I'd get in that quick. So I texted Dorothy and said, hey, I just got back from class and it's been a crazy, you know, like everybody else. I got back in, grabbed a couple slices of pizza.
Right.
So I'm living off pizza and leftovers for the next couple of days. Wife's out of town. Took the grandbaby out to see some friends. So, but this is been just an amazing day because, and I'm going to tell you like where we're at right now. I want to talk about this real quick is, you know, we had a person that said, you know what, today I'm having a really rough day. And, and you may have already covered this. I'm not sure, but if you didn't, you know, but this is what it was about is he said, you know, I'm having a rough day. Really good friend of mine. Physically, he just doesn't have it. Mentally, he's doing great, but his body hurts when it starts cooling down a little bit. And that's how it is. Right. And so here's the thing about this crew is that Russ, you know, you stepped up and said, hey, I got this, you know, we'll do it. We'll go ahead and take this hour. And that's what this entire team of people, like you've interviewed people throughout, you know, these last 20 hours that we've been on. Mm-hmm. Tim's been seeing these people. I think I just burped. Sorry. But it's
good pizza.
Starting to get that time. Right. And, you know, Dorothy, but what it is, it's a group of people that it starts with the heart, you know, and it's humbling for me because when I started asking people, you know, hey, would you mind coming on the show? You know, what do you think? Is so many people said yes, that I ended up having to tell a few people, hey, we'll try to get you on next time. We'll try to get you on at a different thing. And I'll try to at least talk about your organization. There's so many organizations that have really supported me and supported Camaraderie Rescue Mission, supported, you know, veterans, first responders, that it's been amazing. And I for one, the group that's been on here, you know, to me has just blown me away. You know, the streamers, what Tim and Dorothy have put together here. You know, this is one of those events. Where I kind of had the luxury of just almost showing up, you know, and then seeing what they had put together. And that's really what I have done, you know, other than maybe getting some names and stuff like that. These two really put it on. And this amazing thing that we've done the last 20 hours has been because of their hard efforts and work. And I don't know how many hours went into it. 1 billion is what it feels like, because of how it's went. And then the quality of people that you've had that's come on, like Russ and all the other streamers. I'm humbled to my core of the outpouring of love that I've seen, because that's what it is. And then the groups that have come on, the fact that they were able to share their story and not only talk about, you know, what it is that we're doing here, and didn't have to talk about that for 20 hours. Goodness gracious, I couldn't even imagine, right? As much as I can talk, I don't think I can fill 24 hours. Well, I might. But just saying, it would take a lot more coffee, a lot more caffeine.
Is that a challenge, Greg?
I don't know. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to break that record. But but I know, you know, I know where I stand. But it's been absolutely amazing. I mean, you know, and I just, every time something has happened, the whole team has flexed. In the stream, the stuff that the viewers haven't seen is in the background. There's a thing for the 24-hour live streamers on LinkedIn. And it's like, hey, this is what just happened. Who's got this? And it's like, boom, boom, boom. You know, it's almost like you're in class, and who wants to be first? And so amazing, you know, nothing short of amazing, because it takes a lot to pull a 24-hour anything off. But to do a live stream where every link is different, and to put the TV guide together, and to have all that stuff, just, man, you guys have, I mean, if I could do the heart thing with my hands, I'd probably do it, but I don't. I'd make it look really weird. Like, is that right? Did I get it right? So anyway, we won't go there.
You got it.
Well, I want to, and Greg, I want to ask Tim about some of the mechanics in the background, because it's really important for us to understand that what takes place when this production actually starts evolving. And then I'll ask Dorothy a couple of things, but I really want people to understand that it is an effort. It does take energy. And the reason we do this is so we can help others in the community that Greg has started building and will continue to build. And some of the opportunities that some of these donations are getting. We got Mark Lee that is donating some special bonuses. We've got
shout out to Mark.
Philip Jones that is going to be developing some stuff. And anyone that is there, you know, we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to share that. So kind of give us some background and insight into that part of the equation, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of communication. There's 14 Dorothy, I can't talk either. There's 14 live streamers who have all donated their time to this event. So communication with 14 live streamers, and then creating run of shows for all of the time slots. And yeah, and then getting all of the assets, the backgrounds, all the digital assets to everyone, the run of shows, the communication, and then just getting everything going. And yeah.
Well, you don't know, and a lot of people don't understand all of the things that have to go into a live stream. So I just want to acknowledge you and all the live streamers that have attended. You know, it feels very easy because you have done a lot of the work. You guys have actually put in the effort to get all of the materials in place, and just like the message board, you know, going in there and saying, hey, we have here's the situation, what do you want to do? And you know, we all jumping in and doing what we can to help each other out. Yeah. So I just want to thank you for taking lead on this and making it happen, because it's really important to do. So I just want to make sure that people have the opportunity to continue to donate and support this cause, even after 6 p.m. today, Eastern Standard Time. Because Greg, this is a lifelong cause for you. I could see it in your energy. I could see it in your efforts. And I just really want to make sure that we have an opportunity to do this. Talk a little bit about the $100 donation, Greg, on the fishing efforts, because I think that's important for us to understand.
Yeah. So the Freedom Boat Club, you know, what that setup is the guys out of Winter Haven, Florida, over the Freedom Boat Club over there. We've got, we've got Waylon, who's been a big key, and then we've got Eddie, the guy the manager over there, the general manager. They came and they wanted to help like so many others and said, hey, we're going to donate this 6-month membership. Now, what that entails is you can actually, at the Winter Haven location, go out as many times as you want for those 6 months, every single day, and you end up just paying for the gas that goes with it. But that membership, if you had to pay for it out of pocket during that time frame of the 6 months with your deposit and all that, would cost you about $7,500. So that's the value. And so what we decided the other day is we said, when we do this fundraiser, we still want to give people an opportunity for that amazing thing. We want to be able to connect some of those folks that are looking for that to be able to talk to Waylon, and maybe they want a membership, you know what I mean? And they scratch our backs, we scratch theirs. That's what this whole thing is about. I mean, that's just what it's about. And so if you're at a location that's not in Winter Haven and there's 359 plus more of them, you can go to those locations 400, or you can go to those four times a year. So if you do all the math on that, there's more places than you can go to in a year. And earlier today, when I was on on one of the shows, we had a gentleman, I can't remember his name right now, from the UK. One of you guys probably remind me here in a second, but he there's actually 4
Carl
locations
Sullivan.
there. What was that?
Carl Sullivan?
That's it. Yeah. So Carl,
With the beard.
when I got on there,
the other beard.
yeah, he was great. And he was great. He was a lot of fun, and he was really amped up. He was kind of jamming to the tunes when I first tuned in, great dude. But I said, hey, did you know there's actually 4 locations over there where you're at in the UK? And he's like, oh, yeah, I noticed that. I looked it up. So, this is the cool thing about it is when I first started talking to Eddie and Waylon, there was probably like 350 locations. And just in this short amount of time since they initially donated it, they've gained 10 more locations. And so they're growing. Awesome. It's something that's really cool because they provide the maintenance. I think their catchphrase is, we provide the boats, you provide the fun, and then what you do is you take the boat out, you come back, they fill it up, and then you pay for gas and you walk away from it instead of having to go do all the cleaning and stuff on the backside after, what most people have to do when you really got to do the stuff that nobody likes. So
having a friend with a boat is much better than having a boat.
Yeah. And that's kind of like what this is. This is like having a friend that has a boat in 360 locations. Yeah. Except this one, you're required to chip in some gas money, which people with boats will tell you sometimes that's few and far between. But in this particular situation, you got 360 locations that folks can go to 4 times a year. I'm not going to try to do that math, around 1,200 times if you went out every single day or had something. And then what that does for us is we actually want to really get a membership for us, because in those locations, my goal, and I said this to them when it all began, is I would love to have a captain at all 360 plus of those locations that could take veterans out at least once a month, even if it was for like 4 hours. And I would love to have one here locally to where we could help grow this coffee club, to where we bring people together and we sit down and do these chats, maybe do some of the trauma protocols while we're out there in the water and you're away and all that. And so one of the goals that I have, it's going to happen one way or another, is that we want to get a membership there at Freedom Boat Club, and they're taking really good care of us for our side. They're giving us the membership, but plus they're also going to help us out, and because we're partnered up with them and trying to do some advertising as well. But the guys at Freedom Boat Club, Eddie, Waylon, and Anna, she's amazing. Anna's the one that keeps the whole thing straight there. So she's the behind the scenes worker, kind of like what Dorothy and Tim have been doing this whole week. And Anna she's the glue that holds everything together over there. Eddie's the guy that's the business bean counter. Waylon's a lot like me. He probably talks more than he probably should listen more than he talks, but neither one of us listen to that kind of advice. And but they're all just amazing, and they jumped right on, and it was one of those, hey, we just want to help.
Well, I could see that model, Greg, working for a number of different opportunities, just like what Mark Anderson does with the float tanks. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of cities that have float tanks, and I thought that would be very interesting if that same kind of opportunity could arrive for the float tanks and getting people on board with that.
Have you done a float?
What's that?
Have you done a float before?
Oh yeah, I've done floats many times.
Oh my gosh!
It's I thoroughly enjoy it. So man,
that's like the most relaxing thing I have ever done, I think, in my life. I mean, I was telling them I went over there and when I did mine for the first time, and I turned the lights out and I really did the whole thing, the full sensory deprivation thing. And
Uh-huh.
and I didn't think I would fall asleep because with my balance issues and stuff, my ears, I'm deaf in my left ear. But I went under the water. It didn't bother me. I thought it might because when I swim underneath water in my pool, sometimes I'll corkscrew. So I don't do that. Right?
Yeah.
Bad news. I'll go south when I should come north. And but I got in there. I got really comfortable. I got relaxed. The water's at 97 degrees.
Yep.
Everything was just right. And I fell asleep. And right before the music came on, I think I started snoring. At least I hope I was snoring. But I was snoring. And I kind of woke myself up, and then the music was playing, and the lights came up, and I came out, and I'm like, "How long was I in there?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Dude, you're in there for like 45 minutes." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" I came home that night, and I literally just the only way I can describe it is I felt like a big bowl of Jello. Like I
Yeah.
was so relaxed. I slept. Oh my gosh, I slept so great that night, and I'd
Yeah.
never. I've had massages. I've had all these, and that, my goodness, it was something. It was unbelievable. I mean, I keep trying to find ways to go back. Like I got to make it over there this Friday. Hey, Mark,
Yeah.
how about this? And I just want
It's
to.
well worth it. It's well worth it. So.
And Mark's come on board, and he really wants to do a lot with veterans as well. I mean, he's really jumped in. I met him for the first time. It was like a long lost brother. Mark can suck the oxygen out of the room just like I can. And when he and I get going and our brains start firing on all cylinders, you better watch out, man. You'll see sparks and lights come on.
Well, and Dr. Royster, she was on with Mark, and we had a great conversation. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the feed for LinkedIn dropped, and it was still streaming on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. However, I did take that, and I relaunched that feed for anybody that wants to watch that. It's tomorrow at 10:10 Pacific Standard Time. I did a replay and put it out there because I want to make sure that people capture that information and the opportunity to share. And these are things that help veterans change the way they feel, change the way they're thinking, and have an opportunity to actually, find alternatives to how they're feeling. So,
and what's funny is I'll mention the float, you know what I mean? Like, and then people are like, oh yeah. And everybody has that same, like, oh, it's great. Oh man, more people should do it. Or I'll mention it and like, man, I wish we could get every veteran out there or anybody that has any type of anxiety, doesn't matter what your link is, but anything that you're connected with, just to get in there and relax yourself. St. Pete Salt Works, and that's where we met over there. And I actually, what's funny is I went over there to look at something different. This seat where you sit in, it helps you relax a little bit. And then when I went in and started talking to Mark, I'm like, dude, you got to tell him about this floating thing. This thing is awesome. And so Mark told me about it. He recommended a few books, Blue Mind out there. It's just Dr. Wallace, an amazing book. And that's what our thing is heroes, badges and martyrs, horses, barbecue, and water. Like I said, we always could say animals. We could say animals, food, and nature, but horses, barbecue, and water sounds so much cooler. At least I think it does. And Mark fulfills that water part. He's my water expert.
And it's a good time. Also, I wanted to, Dorothy, maybe you had an interview with Steve that was going to hear, and he was unable to make it today. And I just wanted to see if we wanted to play that and share that with the community, because you have insight into the information that was shared. So I just want to give you an opportunity maybe to kind of preface the content and what might be unfolding here in this interview.
Absolutely. Yes. So I did interview Steve on behalf of Camaraderie Rescue Mission. I had my other hat on. And so in the interview, I just asked Steve, what does Camaraderie Rescue Mission mean to you? How have we helped you? How have we served you? And this is it's less than 15 minutes. I believe it's around 11 minutes, but this interview is so powerful. And this is why the funding is needed so that we can continue with these programs. Our programs literally changed Steve's life. Like Steve went from a bubbling mess and, a bubbling mess, and his wife was just like, man, you got to do something to really not only having the camaraderie that he gets from Mr. Bicknell, but also, the different programs that Steve has had within Camaraderie Rescue Mission has completely changed his life and transformed him. And that's what this is.
Steve
That's
made
what
that
this
for
is
me.
all about.
Steve made that for me. So Steve used to make these pins, these really amazing pins.
Oh, wow.
And he used to make them back before. And when he came to our first thing, when he went on a sailing trip with Ghost Ship, Steve hadn't made any of these in a long time. And so Steve jokes and says, when you become friends with me, you'll also potentially get a job, right? And so I put him to work. Steve was on his, I joke about it and I say, Steve was sitting on his front porch and burn his kneecaps because he would wave at everybody and sit out there on his front porch. But we were introduced. So with this program, this is what was cool about it, is that connection again, right? The camaraderie. Is that Steve, a friend of mine who I've been friends with pretty much my entire military career, reached out to me and said, hey, I got this guy at church that I think he could probably, use your program. And I reached out to Steve and we hit it off and started chatting. And then Steve really started working himself to go on this sailing trip. And he's been at most of our events since then. And he, so much so that he became part of the staff at the last one we did, the first part of May, because in December of last year, or in Veterans Week of last year, we had a retreat in Kentucky. And when I was there, I said, Steve, we're going to have a retreat in April or first part of May, and I need you to make me 50 pins. And I said, no, I'm just kidding. But his brother had come down from Ohio and he goes, no, you're not kidding. I'm like, you know what? I'm not kidding, Steve. I need you to make 50 pins. And I've actually got pictures of not only him making these, well, he made them. And then I've got pictures, as I said, don't put them together because I want you to do that. So everybody that came to our event, our equine event at Nancy Slater's Natural Horsemanship Cowboy Camp up in Lake Wales, Steve actually sit down with each individual person and put this thing together and was able to, press it together and tell them how it worked and show his craftsmanship. And they are just amazing. It's one of my most prized possessions. And I just happen to have it here because I was signing a lot of paperwork yesterday. So I'll shut up now and let you get on with that video and let Dorothy jump back in there. But this is Steve. Like Steve, if I had to say someone that I could chart the course, if I could record it from start to finish, Steve is now willing to say, hey, I want to be on your show. He wouldn't have done that before, but he's also still smart enough to know, hey, you know what? It's cold up here. He has little spasms and stuff and he doesn't need to come on. And I appreciate the fact that he would do that. But this interview man, it brings tears to my eyes. I love this guy.
Well, let's watch. Any last words, Dorothy, before we jump into the interview?
I just, really listen to what Steve has to say and really how our programs made a difference in his life. And I guarantee you that will open your heart and your wallet to, helping us fund these programs so that we can help more veterans, because that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, if you could take somebody who's broken and feels hopeless and then, open that up. So, hey, life is great. Life's amazing. Right. May not be every day, but I'm willing to open to at least see what tomorrow brings. Right. That's what this is all about.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know how long this lasts. So if you have to jump off, I understand. And I'll be back here. And fortunately, I'm still streaming on LinkedIn, Tim. So we're good. We're good.
All right.
I just want to make sure that everybody.
Thank you, LinkedIn.
Yeah, thank you, LinkedIn. Appreciate it. So watch this, listen carefully, and know that you can make a difference.
Hello and welcome. This is your host, Dorothyann O'Dell with Camaraderie Rescue Mission. And today we have the amazing Steve Glenning. Welcome, Steve.
Good morning. How are y'all doing?
I am doing fantastic. How's it all in Florida there? Nice warm weather.
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. Somebody has to have it though. So, I'll take it.
That's awesome. So, Steve, can you tell our viewers today what your background is, what it is that you did before you come to Camaraderie Rescue Mission?
So, I retired from the Air Force in 2014 and was teaching for 6 years until I got my current diagnosis, which kind of results in chronic pain that we can't really put a finger on the source and don't really have any good options on making that pain go away. So I was struggling a lot with the depression that goes with chronic pain, and had a friend of mine that asked me whether she could reach out to Greg and give him my information, have him give me a call. And so Greg gave me a call the very next day, and it has been a fabulous interaction. You know, we probably get on each other's nerves every once in a while, but I would consider him a good friend after he has reached out to me. It's just been good.
That's amazing. And what program did you take with Camaraderie Rescue Mission?
So the first thing that I did in order to meet Greg, Greg came up here, picked me up, and he and I drove together down to Key West and did the boating. It was a 10-day snorkeling and sailing trip with 15 other veterans. So we had 2 sailboats, was with the Ghost Ship program, and that was life changing. So, allowing me to do things like snorkeling in open water that I never thought I'd be able to do. And Camaraderie was the connection to get me in with these guys and be able to get into the boating. So I also got an opportunity about a month or so ago to do some of their equine therapy, and that was an awesome experience as well. Getting to know personalities of the horses, and different things and how they respond to stressors, and that was a good opportunity as well.
Awesome. And how would you say that these programs have helped you overcome your chronic pain and your depression and things like that?
One of the things that it does is it brings me together with groups of veterans that may not be going through exactly what I'm going through, but everybody has their challenges, and kind of trying to end that isolation. That was probably the most important thing that it did. I don't know that there was anything specific other than bringing me together, and with all of the effort that went into it, it inherently let me know that I was a valued part of the team, and so that was a good thing. I'm not useless and broken and ready to be discarded. I have value, and that was quite helpful for me.
That's amazing. And that led into my next question, which was, what epiphany did you get? And that's amazing that you got that you're not a useless human being. You are a man of God, and that you are definitely out there having a purpose and a plan and
Right.
continuing. I love that. Basically, I love how you answered all that in one, and you didn't even realize what was coming.
I've always been somebody that was looking for needs in other people, and how can I meet them. And now, as a man, and not being able to do a lot of those things physically anymore, it's maybe it's feeding the ego that's missing, but struggle with not being able to do those things anymore. But hooking up with Camaraderie really showed me that I matter to somebody. And Greg does an amazing job of making sure that that you are valued to him, even if you're not valued to anybody else, or even if you think you're not. He does a fabulous job with that. I got to know his wife through the process as well, and that's probably the best decision that Greg ever made. Mary and Nikki. Anybody that knows the two of them can vouch for that as well. So,
Okay. I love all of that. And what adjustments have you made in your lifestyle after, being with Camaraderie Rescue Mission and taking those two excursions and being with Greg and your whole experience? What adjustments would you say that you've made in your life?
instead of sitting back and just being frustrated that I can't find a solution, whatever, I'm being more proactive, back into um, uh, doing research and being able to get the self-help, for lack of a better word, that I need. Um, I've also been trying to be more active, because I, went with a sailing and snorkeling trip, really showed me there are a lot of things that I can do that I didn't think I could do. And so trying to be more active and stay active, and even stretch out of that comfort zone a little bit, and try the things that I need to do. There are a lot of things that I, I don't know that I can do simply because I've not tried. And so trying to reach out and do those new things is a big part of the adjustment.
That is amazing. That is huge. I love everything that you said. And so what would you say to your fellow veterans that, are crying out for help, but maybe at the crossroads where they want the help, but they're really not sure, and they're not really sure if Camaraderie Rescue Mission is for them? What would you say to those veterans that are in similar situations, that they've they're fed up, they're not sure where to turn, but they just don't know what the next step is?
First thing I would say, very quickly, is that you are not alone in the process. You're not the only one that's going through this process. And we're all frustrated that it's as complicated as it is to find the answers sometimes. However, I will tell you, from the moment that I reached out to Greg and Camaraderie Rescue Mission, it's they've continue to stay in touch with me. They've continued to check up on me. Greg, who is the founder, is um, he has a huge network of people at his disposal that he can recommend for a number of different scenarios and specific things. But biggest thing is, you are not alone. Don't stop fighting. We've been trained our entire careers to keep fighting till the battle's won. And Camaraderie is a fabulous source of um, networking that will help rejuvenate that fight, and help you realize, huh, there's people that can help me. And so being able to just relax, trust, what they're doing for you. And it's just been great for me.
There's something you just said that just blew my mind. And the last 6 months I've been working with veterans, and I have the pleasure of getting to know each men and women that I talk to. And what you just said reiterated when you said you are trained to go into battle and to fight until you win. So by ending veteran suicide, this is what we're doing. Let's train you guys to stay in the game so that you win for your life, and you move on to the next level. That is so profound, Steve. Thank you. You just really took my personal mission to a whole new level when you said that. That is phenomenal. So thank you for thank you for sharing that, because that is just wow. That's mind blowing for me as somebody who is listening to each and every story and just getting in the trenches with you guys and just really eradicating veteran suicide wow. You just really blessed me. Thank you.
I'll tell you also, Dorothy, that there are a number of different things that we can do that are valuable to other people. And I'm beginning to find out that I sunk a lot of money into nice, comfortable front porch furniture. And I have found in the last 6 to 9 months that quite possibly my purpose is to do nothing more than sit on my front porch and be able to talk to and encourage somebody that's struggling, be able to just be an encouragement to them. I love to brag on my God and the amazing things that He's doing through my life. So if the way that I do that is He brings people to my front porch one at a time, then that's what I'm going to do. That is valuable, and it doesn't take a lot of physical effort to be able to do that. So sometimes it's something small like that. Other times it's something huge like what Greg's doing with Camaraderie. That's a heavy lift, and so trying to get all of those pieces off the ground and being able to be an encouragement in a number of different ways that he does is from small to large. It doesn't really matter what it is. Once you find your niche, then having the encouragement from somebody and the accountability from somebody to continue doing that is pretty awesome.
Absolutely. Well, Steve, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you for being, I got the words porch preacher. I don't know. God just gave me those words, porch preacher. And I love
quite
that.
Possibly.
Who knows? That may be your next calling, but I just truly blessed to have known you and to have this time with you today. And thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can't.
You're muted, Russ.
Yeah, I can't hear you, Russ.
I didn't want all the clicking and clacking on my typing coming through, interrupting Steve. So yeah, and thank you for that story, Steve. If you get this message and you hopefully you're out there supporting the community in your own way, and the efforts that you're making is important. And one of the things I like to share, because I've gone through a few things on my own, and sometimes the pain of the past needs to be the fuel for your future. And even if you're not where you want to be and not how you're feeling is exactly comfortable, you can still make a difference. You can still make it matter. And I think, Greg, you've experienced that. You continue to experience that, and you continue to grow and expand in your mission to help more people, as well as Tim. Tim has a lot going on, and he's so incredibly supportive. And Dorothy, thank you so much for being here. We got to wrap up this thing soon, but I just want to make sure that we have an opportunity to allow people the opportunity to go vote, not vote, but fundraise and donate to the cause at tinyurl.com, Hope for Vets. Anything else that you want to add, Tim, before we move on to the next hour? And who's on the next hour, by the way?
Yeah, I really just want to wrap up, at least on my end, by saying thank you again, Russ, and everyone.
It's amazing. We've seen a lot of people come in the community. We've seen a lot of people join in. I've seen a lot of people jump on the live stream. So I just really want to thank everybody for joining us. And Greg, why don't you wrap it up and let us know how people can get to us, how people can donate, and how they can continue to donate as we move forward in the future.
Yeah, I want to go back and hit Steve just for a quick second. And Steve I talked to him today, and here I've gone through this entire 22 hours as we're at now, in a video of a good friend of mine, family member, dang near it. Well, he is family, about cracked me. And I'm sitting here having to go off camera because I'm starting to get a little misty eyed. Something about the onions here close to my desk. But Steve did that. But it's TCRMI.org. You can go there. There's a way to donate there, or you can go to the tinyurl.com/hope for vets. And then if you want to send a check, if people are that, you can send it to Greg Bicknell, 1532 Cordgrass Way, Lakeland, Florida, 33813. And when you send that in, like I said, I'll just deposit into the account. Make it out to Camaraderie Rescue Mission. Don't make it out to me, please. And we'll get these programs going. We do have a couple programs that are coming up. I'm working with Janet Wazawate, who was on last night about 1 a.m. She was on at 1 a.m. She's doing a journaling course for us. It's going to last. First one's going to be an intro, and then we're going to do that. And then on the 10th of December, we have an event out at Extreme Horsemanship, where it's going to be a 24-hour equine retreat where we come out there and just fellowship with each other, have a good time, relax, get to know each other, have some good food, interact with horses, maybe do some fishing. But really, if we just sit around and hang out with each other and connect, that's what it's all about. So I appreciate everything that's gone on. I appreciate everything you've done, Russ. You've really come in strong for us, and I appreciate that, along with all the other podcasters. Dorothy and Tim, we've said it over and over again. Those guys, they're rock stars. And
absolutely.
I'm so glad to get to know Tim finally. Dorothy, she's become a sister to me. And the rest of the team is there as well. So you've seen all the people that have come out, and I just consider that a big hug. So it's a 22-hour hug for me. It's these folks really, that's kind of how it feels. I feel like the special, the really special kid that wakes up and got all the presents that he wanted on Christmas, because these people that came forward and did what they committed to, and they came out and really talked about their own organizations, which is what I was really hoping for.
Yeah.
They got a chance to talk about what's available. And so folks can look at these videos over and over and maybe learn something they didn't know, and learn how to connect to some of those organizations or connect with us. To me, it's all about the end user, not about the one that's producing it. And I appreciate everything you guys have done to help us put that out there.
Well, and I think it's the most important part of the equation is to be able to help those that are in pain right now, and know that they are out there. They're not alone, and they have the opportunity to reach out and help get some assistance and support. Whether you have somebody in your family that may want to introduce you to Greg, or you have somebody that that can assist and support with introductions and connections. Don't stand alone. Don't isolate. Don't allow yourself to be in a situation where your circumstances change for the worst. The thing that we have to remember is there are a lot of people out there in the exact same place and pain, and there's no reason for it. And we want to make sure that people have an opportunity to change their direction and outcome. And people like Greg are working incredibly hard to make it matter, to make a difference. And I just want to make sure that if you have an opportunity to go to tinyurl.com/hope for vets, you can go over there, make a small donation. Every dollar counts. Every cent that helps these vets and helps the first responders and police officers, people that have been in trauma. This is not exclusive to vets. However, vets suffer one of the highest suicide rates in the country right now. So I just want to make sure that we change that trend. We talk about mental illness, we talk about mental health, and we talk about alternatives. I personally have lost my son to suicide, and I don't want any parent in the world to experience that. So let's make a difference. Go to tinyurl.com/hope for vets, and let's make a difference. And Greg, all the respect and appreciation for what you're doing, and thank you so much for showing up, sharing your story, having a cause and a mission for those in the world that need it.
Yeah, likewise, my friend. I know I met a streamer, and I hope I met a whole bunch more friends where we can continue this thing on. And I really feel a connection with a lot of you guys. So thank you so much. My
And
dog
with
says
that,
hi as well.
even the dog agrees.
Even the dog agreed with that, I guess.
Well, thank you. So the next hour we're going to jump in. If you want to go, the schedule I think is at your website. Is it?
Yeah, I think it's same as you see on here, the tinyurl.com/hope for vets schedule. So if you type in schedule after that, you'll be able to click on the last hour. The last couple hours is the board and the team and all of our thank yous and the tallies and all that good stuff. And so we're excited. I think Dorothy's probably and Tim are probably more excited because they'll finally get to take a nap or get some sleep because they've been working tirelessly. But again, everybody really pulled this thing off and pulled it together. And here we are at the end. Who would have thought that 22 hours ago? And it's just been amazing. But yeah, I appreciate all the donations of the folks that have made them. Hope, we're looking to do some great things. And regardless of the number, regardless of what ends up being the full tally, we brought a bunch of people together and spread a lot of good news about what's available for people that need it. And that's what, at the end of the day, that's what counts, right? That's what counts. That's what we're trying to do.
Absolutely. Well, Greg, thank you so much for being here. And we're going to wrap it up and go to the next hour. And thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm Russ Johns, host of this hour, and look forward to future episodes and adventures in fundraising with Greg.
Awesome. Thanks.
Take care.
Yeah.
Enjoy the day.
Absolutely.